All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Sorry we could not be in the other courtroom. They're doing work down there, so I know it's a little warm. It looks like we may have people in the hallway, so when you're done speaking, maybe you want to step out. I don't know, it looks like they're all employees. But anyway, okay. So welcome to the Town Board meeting of April 13th, 2021. On a roll call?
Councilman Dennis Troy. Councilman Tom Divany.
Here.
Councilman Paul Valentine.
Here.
Councilman Jerry Vitari.
Here.
Supervisor Teresa Kenny.
Here. Okay, pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Announcements. On May 1st, 2021, we're going to have free shredding event at Town Hall being held by our town clerk's office. So just they'll be accepting non-perishable food, school supplies, or cash donations for people to people. The presentation, I have the honor of reading a poem. I'm going to apologize in advance to our poet laureate because I definitely will not have the flair that she would have if she was reading this poem. We have a certificate for Rosemary Racciopi. She is the poet laureate, and she has served as in that role for 10 years. So she is normally here and reads and says her poem, and I will just say we will invite her back when COVID is in the rearview mirror, and we will let her read the poem the way it should be read. In the meantime, I'll do my best. Orangetown we hail, a vision held within each heart from which a righteous quest had its start. Freedom's plea with words defined, Orangetown resolutions, July 4, 1774 were signed. The Declaration of Independence to follow its path, man to be beyond oppression, domination, and wrath. Major Andre Benedict Arnold, conspiracy and travail, be it truth and justice, ever to prevail. Washington Carleton Papers in 1783 signed and sealed, the heart and pulse of freedom in words revealed. And so declared a nation new to soar, a 17-gun salute at Sneeden's shore. Sneeden's landing in Memorial be a beacon holding fast freedom's decree. Rich lands for labor and toil, bounty and abundance from land and soil. Enterprise, invention, production to serve need and desire, each vision alight with freedom's flame and fire. And with freedom's defense and call anew, be there World War II. From Camp Shank soldiers to foreign shores they be, hold they dear the protected right to live free. Change during the years past and present to prevail, Orangetown, rich in history, we with heart hail. And I will make sure that she gets the certificate that we signed for her, recognizing National Poetry Month and thanking her for her 10 years of service. I know she's watching, so I will invite her back when she's comfortable coming back to read it herself. Okay, next thing we're going to have the presentation on the Gatto Lane presentation. Do we have?
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board, town council, and staff. My name is Lino Sciaretta, partner with the law firm Blakely, Platt & Smith on behalf of the applicant Toll Brothers. With me this evening, my partner Brian Quinn, also of Blakely Platt. From Toll Brothers this evening, we have Mr. James Fitzpatrick, he's the division president. Also Casey Devlin, our vice president of Toll Brothers, and our engineer, Ken DeGennaro from Brooker Engineering. So just by way of background, and first of all, thank you, Supervisor and members of the board, for allowing us to make this presentation this evening. This is a project that we're proposing on Gatto Lane for a 40-unit senior townhome development. And when I say 40, we're talking about 36 two-bedroom units and 4 three-bedroom units. How we started this process, back in December, we, on behalf of Toll Brothers, filed a petition to your board. That petition was amended in January of 2021. And in that petition, we are seeking, in essence, to change the zone here, which is presently zoned R40, to an R15, which would allow Toll Brothers to utilize the PAC zoning. PAC zoning is in your town code, which is a planned adult community development, which is a floating zone. And that would allow for this development to proceed. We submitted our petition. I know it's in your hands. And in that petition, we've asked for, again, various relief from the zoning. Also, as part of that process, SECRA and a referral to the various town and county agencies with respect to this project. So again, we thank you for allowing us to be here this evening. Without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to our president here of Toll Brothers, James Fitzpatrick, just to go through a brief presentation, and then we'll turn it over to Kenny DeGennaro to go over the site plan. And if there's any questions, obviously we're here to answer them. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is James Fitzpatrick. I'm the division president for Toll Brothers. Just a brief introduction of who we are for those who don't know. We are a Fortune 500 company, currently ranked number 426. We've been in business since 1967 and been a publicly traded company since 1986. Most recently, in our fiscal year ending in 2020, we posted revenues of just over $7 billion, closing just over 8,000 homes across 24 states. We serve a whole host of buyers, everyone from move-up to empty nesters, active adults, second home buyers, down through a whole apartment living division and even collegiate student housing. In 2020, we were named the world's most admired home builder by Fortune magazine's survey of the world's most admired companies. This is the 6th year in a row we've been given that honor, and the 10th year overall. Also, most recently, in the 2020, the National Association of Home Builders named our Edge on Hudson community in Sleepy Hollow the Community of the Year, and also Model Home of the Year. We've been in the market for over 20 years. In the lower Hudson Valley, we've built just over 20 communities and over 1,300 homes. So it's our first time building in Orangetown. We're excited to be here, excited about the project. I'll skip over the site plan. I'll leave that to our team members. But I just brought some representative examples of the style of homes that we're looking to build. Again, these are all first floor primary homes to service that empty nester or never nester buyer. They range from 2,300 to 2,800 square feet, all 2-car garages. They meet what the market is demanding as far as living spaces and entertainment spaces. We find that this buyer is looking to not necessarily downsize, they're looking to right size into a home. They usually are selling a larger home, within the move down. This is a home styles and that we have been very successful marketing throughout the lower Hudson Valley in, like I said, over the 20 years that we've been building homes in this part of the region. And with that, I'll pass it over to our team members that will walk you through the site plan.
My name is Ken DeGennaro. I'm the site engineer. So just in terms of the concept plan that we have developed to date, again, the project is 10 acres, which meets the criteria for the planned adult community. It's located on the north side of Gatto Lane. The access to the site would be a new private drive. It's perpendicular to Gatto Lane. That's right through the center of the site, runs in a north-south direction. There is, at this point, a proposed emergency access road to Highland Avenue. Again, we would coordinate that with the planning board and the emergency service providers to make sure it meets their specifications. The site, under existing conditions, is wooded, not developed. It has a moderate slope. It's easily developed for this type of use. There's no wetlands or designated floodplains or town steep slopes on the site that make development somewhat more difficult. And again, there are utility services available on Gatto Lane, which is another helpful reason that makes this site pretty easily developed. Again, the site is more compact in terms of what we're disturbing. The PAC has a 100-foot buffer requirement. We can maintain that along the residential perimeters of the property. And we would definitely work with the town board, with the planning board, to develop any other amenities and features within that buffer. But the idea is to leave as much of the vegetation in place as possible, while also supplementing it with more evergreen screening. So that's really the highlights of the site plan. If anybody has any questions, we're all here to answer anything you might have.
Can I ask you a question on the, and I'm looking at this map here, on the south side of the lot, on the other side of Gatto Lane, what, this is just showing it as open space. If I've got the right,
We have the zoning map as well. So that is right here.
Yep.
That's Pfizer property.
oh, okay.
That's Pfizer property, undeveloped, that's also zoned R40.
Thank you. And another question for you. Is there, I don't see, is there any amenity, park, or any clubhouse, anything?
We haven't developed that at this point.
Okay.
Right now, we wanted a zoning review to see our compliance with the buffers. You know, it might be some more passive features and walking paths, but at this point, I do not believe we have a separate clubhouse, certainly nothing to the extent of like tennis courts or
Right,
on that level.
right.
So the proposed buffer is on all four sides? 100 feet buffer is met on all four sides, or just on the Gatto Lane and Pfizer properties?
It was, I believe, the plan that was included in the petition, we did not meet it along the front side of Gatto Lane, which would be the south side. But we've since revised the plan. We believe we can maintain that along the Gatto Lane in front of our site that's being developed. Definitely, it was more of a consideration and a priority to maintain that buffer along the east side, which would be the existing residences that abut the property.
So it's on 3 sides?
It's really, it's on all 4 sides.
Okay.
Yeah, so that parking lot that you could see in the back, right next to Unit 20, that's overflow parking, and that is within the buffer as well. Just one other point of interest, since we filed our petition, we did reach out to the local residents, and we had a public information meeting with them. That was on March 3rd, I believe, March 4th. And I would say about 40 residents came, and there was certainly a lot of feedback provided to our office and our team for items to consider.
You have any questions?
Just, it's 55 and older, why the need for 3-bedroom units?
It's allowed by the town code, and 10%, I believe, are allowed to be 3 bedrooms. So, you know, given the market analysis that was performed by Toll, we believe that the 3-bedroom units are desirable to a smaller percentage. So, you know, we would develop that as per what's allowed by the town code. So it's 10% is allowed, so that would be 4 3-bedroom units.
Is that a through street, or is that, I noticed that there's really no T intersection, or T is back where any cul-de-sac, is that going to be a through street to?
No. The original design was not a through street. The road you see on the bottom left connecting to Highland Avenue, that's emergency access only at this point. and we can use a grasscrete type product so it doesn't appear as a road. At that point, it would just be, we would coordinate that obviously with all the emergency service providers to make sure that we can meet their criteria, but we were not proposing that as a through street. There was some suggestions that perhaps it should be made a through street, and we're open to those suggestions, but quite honestly would prefer to get planning board feedback in terms of that possibility at this point. But that's, either way is really, it works for our intent.
Okay, so a car, when it gets to the end of the street, can turn around, will be an area to turn around?
Yes, yes. Correct. We can configure that T turnaround where those parking spaces are. So it would extend a little bit, I guess, east, adjacent to Unit 21, but it would be a regular T turnaround.
Okay,
Yes.
just to see. Thank you.
And just, I even hate to ask this question to an engineer because I'm going to sound like a complete idiot, but like water and sewer, is it like taken into consideration? Is it there? Is there enough? Is there?
There is public water and sewer, and there are some drainage facility. There is a swale along the east side of the property and a culvert that crosses underneath Gatto Lane. Part of the planning process is to demonstrate capacity of the sanitary sewer system, so we would have to work that out with the EME. Part of the planning process is also to get a willingness to serve letter from Suez.
Okay.
And usually, willingness to serve letters are not issued by Orange and Rockland. They typically do not do that at a planning point. But in terms of water and sewer, yes, the infrastructure is in place, and it would be up to us, our team, to demonstrate that the capacity is there to the satisfaction of all the regulatory agencies.
Right. And again, I apologize. Is there any kind of traffic study done? Is that like a planning board thing, or?
It's a planning board thing, and we have done some preliminary traffic studies. I think that was part of the petition.
Yeah, just to that point, yes, as part of this and understanding, and I know as the board is aware, this is very early in the process. It's the first time that we're presenting before you all, so we know there's a lot of work to be done. But yes, as part of this, obviously we have to go through SECRA. We have to go and do a traffic study. We do have one that was prepared for the petition. Again, that would also be amended when it comes time to doing the SECRA. Again, to the point of things to do, again, we presented this petition to your board. We know this is just a presentation tonight, but we know we're going to have to come back for public hearings, more public comment, referrals to the planning board and other agencies. So again, for tonight, we really just want to get a sense, and just from you all, just hopefully we can at least get the process moving with respect to at least referral, and understand that because this is a zone change, under SECRA, most likely your board is going to be lead agency on this particular instance, because we're seeking the petition to rezone from the R40 to R15 to PAC. So again, we have a lot that has to be done. So we just want to thank you for, again, having us this evening, understanding that we do have work to do before the planning board and plenty of public hearings, I'm assuming, in the future. So again, we're still here to answer any questions about the process, but again, I just wanted to let everyone know, because you mentioned the traffic study. Yes, we did prepare one for the petition, but that will be amended when we go through the SECRA process. So thank you.
Do you have to take any additional property to get out on the highway? Besides your square or rectangular property?
We laid it out conceptually, and that layout is within either the easement or the right-of-way that property has. So we would have to physically show how it could be constructed in terms of grading, but at this point,
It's different.
there is no need to, acquire any additional property to make that connection.
If I'm looking at these two correctly, that doesn't
So in
add
the
up.
lower left-hand corner, right?
Yeah, that doesn't, yeah. Here it shows highway with a big curve. Oh, maybe over here?
I believe that there's either an easement or a
Oh,
right-of-way.
No, that's not, but that's not highway.
No, that's probably, is that an easement over someone else's property or driveway?
Look, this is what I'm talking about.
Here, this
Unless
one.
it's misnamed.
so this is different than what we originally got. It's different than what we originally, they changed it. That, no, it's changed, the name has changed, but. Yeah, it's changed a bit since we originally got it. Well, I think these must be twos, so it must be like, but it still isn't.
Yeah, you're correct. That is Grotke in the lower left-hand corner. And there is an easement to the benefit of our property that'll facilitate the emergency access.
Okay, so, anybody else?
What are the price points for the 2-bedroom and the 3-bedroom units?
I'm going to ask everyone, please, to keep your comments. It's not fair to be yelling things out when people are speaking, so.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the market's going to dictate the pricing of the homes. You know, we think they'll be right in the $700,000 range. You know, and for us, there's not a large differentiation between a 2- and 3-bedroom home.
So, I had talked with town attorney earlier today. I would just be interested, like informally, asking the planning board to, informally asking them to take a look at this. If we refer down to the planning board to get their comments, not necessarily out to anybody else, but thoughts?
The comments can only help in our decision.
Oh, that's, I figure, you know, they have the expertise, you know, as evidenced by the questions I
Besides the
asked.
zoning change, besides the zone change, do they need variances on top of
Good question. I know, because it's changed the plan from what I originally saw, so I don't know. Let's,
Yes, there are 2 variances that, as of now, as the plan is currently configured, that we will require. So those variances are, and I'm just getting there, there would be variances for front yard and for floor area ratio.
and can you tell me what the,
Sure, so the current metrics there, so the front yard is 100-foot minimum required, we're proposing 91.5, and the floor area ratio, it's 0.35 allowed in the code, and we are proposing 0.39.
How many units could you do if you met the code? Did you calculate that out?
That, we have to get you that number.
I can tell you that since we started this process months ago, there's been a lot of effort put into this plan to make it as much code compliant as possible. So the variances are rather minimal. And there are a number of exhibits that are attached to the petition. There's a traffic study, there's a market analysis, there's a site plan. There are all of the things that your PAC zone requires to be submitted along with the petition. So there's a number of things, but we would certainly be receptive to going to the planning board and hearing their comments about the site plan. You know, I've taken a PAC zone change through the boards in Orangetown, and it can be kind of a lengthy process, a lot of review going on, and we're certainly ready and willing and able to begin that process.
Well, I think Teresa just wants your proposal to be referred to the planning board. Correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah, just like informal, we're asking the boards, asking them what they,
Yeah, and that could only help, especially with our
Right.
team for the
Right.
planning process,
And
for sure.
one thing we also discussed was having a planner look at it from the town's perspective to be paid for by the applicant. You know, in the past, as Supervisor mentioned, something like this, if the board were interested, it would be sent out, a public hearing would be set, it would be sent out for review by the planning board, county planning, et cetera. I don't think that's what the board is contemplating. I think right now, as Supervisor said, it would just be an informal, send it to the planning board, let us know what you think. As part of that, we could ask for a planner to be paid for by the applicant to review it for the towns, from the town's perspective. But that's up to you. If you want to ask them for that, you could, excuse me, set an escrow.
maybe wait to see what the planning board says, and then,
The planning board might want that
They
assistance.
may want to do it simultaneously.
Yeah,
instead of
that's true.
letting one and the
That's
other.
true.
That's up to them. We just want to
Okay.
refer it, but the more information we get, the better of a decision we can make.
okay.
Yeah, from our standpoint, we welcome going to the planning board, again, because it could help sort out a lot of the details with respect to the site plan, and any questions that the planning board may have, and obviously we'll come back to you ultimately.
I'm sorry, I was talking to Tom. What was-
Informal referral.
Okay.
Do you want to ask to set an escrow for them to, so that the town can hire a planner to look at this, or, and assist the
Yeah.
planning board in it?
Yes.
I would just, Jane.
I think she's right
how much
behind
do
you.
you think? 2,500? Jane's suggesting 3,500. You got your
Right,
time,
and
but
I
it's not
think it's
used.
only fair to make it subject to their further approval or whatever. They're standing up here, I don't want to put them on the spot, so.
That's fine.
That's acceptable.
I know, the Toll Brothers just told them how much they're worth, so we know it's peanut money to them, but, you know. See, I was paying attention. Okay? Okay, I think that's it then.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a
So
good night.
I would just ask a vote to set the escrow at 3,500 for the
Oh.
planner.
Okay,
We'll do that in the regular meeting.
okay.
Yeah, just,
Well, we're not in a meeting yet. Did we, just a
We're just-
presentation?
There's a presentation.
oh, okay. When the
Okay, so just
resolu-
remind me to
time's
do it when we
time
get to the meeting.
for resolution, we
Yeah,
can do it
that'll be
next
like
time.
New business.
Yeah,
So the next step then, if I understand it, is we're going to be referring formally to the planning board for their review and comment, and
yeah.
then we'll be back.
Now, Brian, just
to-
make sure, because I look quickly, is what I have in the petition the same as that is up here?
Yes, well, that's
Okay,
that's
that's
up
the
there. It's
updated
in the
one.
petition, correct.
Okay, because I thought you said after you met with the neighbors, you changed things. No?
Yeah, the petition, we amended the petition back in January because there were some edits that we
Right.
made with respect to school district, so those edits we changed. But as far as the actual plan, what's in the
Okay, I
general
just want to make sure we're
petition,
giving them the right one. Okay,
that's correct.
All right.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
So we have,
a public hearing, so,
all right, well, I make a suggestion that we have the public hearing and then we have public comment because there's obviously a lot of people that
Yeah.
want to speak.
that's fine.
So
And
we
there's no
have-
one signed in for the public hearing, so
Yeah,
we
we have, is it one or two public hearings?
something else.
We have public hearings which we have to have and then we'll allow all you guys to speak
Yeah,
after that. But we
Because
gotta-
we have to be on,
The
yeah.
public hearing.
We just have the one, it's on the,
7:05, right? All right.
yep, okay, so, okay, so we're gonna, it's, item number 3, we're gonna open the public hearing regarding the proposed local law amending chapter 43 of the zoning code with respect to accessory structures in the town of Orangetown. So can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so no one is, I know, Roseanne, you
Right.
have the affidavit of public hearing posting and, okay, thank you. So
I'll
no,
If I could just jump in.
Go ahead.
Just the two items that this is regarding for accessory structures, to permit an accessory structure of up to 144 square feet without the necessity of getting a building permit, still has to be 5 feet from the property line, and also goes to retaining walls. This was sent to the planning board. They had no objection to this board serving as lead agency. ACABOR, neither of those had comments. County Planning sent back a letter dated March 16th, which recommends approval of the law. So just wanted
perfect.
to put that in the record.
All right.
Okay, so no one signed up, but is there anyone here that would like to speak on this particular item only? Going once?
Make a motion, we close public
Okay.
comment.
Okay, okay. They're moving, okay. Okay, so next motion is the designation of lead agency with respect to the proposed local order, amending chapter 6 and 43 of the town code and determination under secra. Motion,
I'll make the motion.
second?
Yep.
Jerry Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 6, adopt local law amending chapter 6 and 43 of the town code regarding building construction administration and zoning of the town of Orangetown. Get a motion?
Yep.
Jerry?
I'll second.
Paul, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's it. So we're gonna go back and open the public portion.
Motion to open the public portion.
Tom made a motion,
I'll second.
Paul second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the first person signed up is Marie Delaney.
I'd just like to read a brief statement from the Rockland Gaelic Athletic Association to the town board. On March 27th, the Rockland GAA held a 5K race, a fundraiser to benefit our scholarship fund for our players who graduate and attend a secondary education institute. This was held to honor a beloved member who passed away. Noel O'Connor was a valuable member of our club as well as an avid runner. We requested help from the Orangetown Auxiliary Police, who have helped us with various functions before. We also asked for a presence from the South Orangetown Ambulance Corps. The Highway Department was contacted regarding the permit. The Parks Department handled the showmobile and the park ranger. To say that each and every department helped us coordinate this day would be a serious understatement. Mike Conklin from the Auxiliary Police was so helpful in recruiting and organizing the force to direct traffic and keep our participants safe. Joan Marie Skywark was once again an ambulance corps member who, along with her crew, ensured that all participants finished the race safely. Catherine Fairclaw in the Highway Department directed us patiently in filing all the paperwork for the items we needed: cones, barriers, recycle bins, and garbage, as well as the permits. Eric Gordon in the Parks Department performed a walkthrough to determine exactly what we needed to do and ensured that the park ranger was on staff. The park ranger was invaluable in directing a considerable crowd the morning of the race. As a resident of Orangetown, as well as a member of the Rockland GAA, I would like to commend everyone involved on such a well-done job. It contributed to a successful, fun day for all the participants. A tremendous thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to remind everybody that we do have a 3-minute limitation. I'm going to do my best to keep track of the time here. Susan Nemisty.
Susan Nemesti, Palisades. I'd just like to mention 2 things quickly. First of all, I see that this Thursday the board will be interviewing consultants to update the comprehensive plan. I was wondering who those consultants are and if the residents of each of the 5 hamlets of Orangetown will be included in any of the decision-making for the new plans. I think it's important that each hamlet have a say in what they see as the future of their community. And secondly, I would like to strongly urge this board to consider an amendment to our zoning code similar to what is being proposed in Stony Point, which is redefining and controlling the arbitrary building of schools, places of worship, and dormitories in residential neighborhoods and direct development to their appropriate zones. And here's an article from the Rockland Business Journal that Tina Traster wrote in January, just to refresh your memory.
You can just give it, you just give it to Rob, he'll pass it up.
I think we already have that.
We do.
Oh,
We've already addressed that a couple of years ago.
Well, they just proposed this in December.
Yeah, we were ahead of them.
ours is better. Okay, next is Susan Turner. And if you just tell us kind of where you, what hamlet you're from or whatever, we don't need your address, but where you're from, that would be great.
My name is Susan Turner. I live on Main Street in the heart of Spark Hill, in a home built in 1900 on a property adjacent to what is known as the Chase Bank property. I'm here to bring your attention to the proposed Chase Bank development that will be presented to you on April 27th. I have two sets of concerns about the proposed development. One set is the neighbor sharing the property line, and the other set is the resident of Orangetown. Tonight, I'm going to focus on my concerns as an Orangetown resident. The proposal is for the development of 17 1- and 2-bedroom apartment units placed on a parcel that is less than half of an acre. The 3-story plan exceeds the 2-story limit clearly laid out in the community shopping overlay zone. The access in and out of the development is via a narrow driveway that connects to an even narrower curved Paulding Street, actually Paulding Place. The proposal disregards the code requirements laid out in the Spark Hill CS overlay zone. It lacks the required setbacks, the required parking, and includes a 3rd story. The excessive density that is being proposed would not be possible if these requirements of the zoning were applied to the plan. Even if the architects can convince you to disregard the zoning, this proposal does not comply with the goals and standards in Orangetown's comprehensive plan. For example, the comprehensive plan allows, by special permit, cluster housing that is no more than 5 houses per acre. By that standard, this property could have no more than 2.5 to 3 dwelling units. The plan is for 17 units. By the standards for multifamily housing set forth in the overlay zone, no more than 4 to 6 units is allowed per acre. Applying that standard, this parcel could have no more than 2 to 3 dwelling units. The plan is for 17 units. It is important to note that multifamily residential requirements set a formula for resident and visitor parking and requires 25% open space, none of which this proposal includes. As you listen to the presentation 2 weeks from tonight, I urge you to carefully consider the negative implications for public safety, fire safety, the aesthetic values of our historic hamlets, sewage and water demand, as well as the stress of parking on the businesses that have worked hard to establish themselves in this community shopping zone. Not to mention how this type of development would set a precedent for high-density development on unsuitable parcels throughout our towns. This plan is a significant departure from the existing legal codes and the goals set forth in the town's comprehensive plan, and a cause of great concern for all residents of Orangetown. I am not against the development of this property, but I hope as you listen to the presentation, you will agree that excessive density does not belong in the center of a hamlet that is rich in history. Thank you for your consideration to these matters.
Thank you. Okay. Jim Castagna.
Hello Supervisor Kenny,
Hi there.
Town Council, and the staff. I live in Spark Hill. I became aware of this project, proposed project in Spark Hill, and I'm an investor. I own 4 units. One of them is on Main Street in the historic district of Beacon. And I was wondering why an investor would propose 17 units on this property. And it didn't take me long to figure it out. It's because across the street is Spark Hill Park, and there are no parking restrictions in the park. There is appropriate signage, but you really can't tell that the asphalt is part of the park. So he misinterpreted probably that area for being municipal parking, and probably assumed that the town would, engage in a project of this nature because it would bring people to the town and improve, the area. But unfortunately, this poor signage within the park in terms of parking is really probably preventing people who would understand what the parking situation is to properly invest in Spark Hill. So needless to say, I'm suggesting and insisting that, as are other parks, that we put up signs in the parking lot that state 4-hour parking and have a sub-sign underneath that says Parkland. So any investor or any person going in the park will understand that we have to respect the park, that it has the priority. I'm not against casual parking. There are really no commuters in there anymore. There is a project for a park and ride. We did the environmental studies. Jim Dean spent an extra $5,000 drilling core samples. I wrote the NEPA application. John Giardello filled out the other environmental studies. Engineering's been done on it. Funding was scheduled for 2015. Then it went to 2017. I think that the project is still important. I think it should be done within a year because everybody expects to return to work soon. But I don't think that after 10 years, we owe any credence to the need for commuter parking in Spark Hill. That unwritten agreement expired. So please make your decision not based upon the needs of non-park goers, but for the plain fact that it's appropriate to use 4-hour restricted parking in the park to protect it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, is this on for the 27th?
Interesting informal presentation. Yeah. Okay. Vanessa Lappins.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Lappins. I'm a resident of Lawveld and a member of Coupon. Can I remove my mask to speak?
Sure,
or should I leave it on?
absolutely. Yep.
I'd like to thank the town board and the planning board for their thoughtful consideration of the projects that are before them. And the land trust is a welcome addition to the toolbox as an endeavor to overhaul, as is the endeavor to overhaul the comprehensive plan. I'd like to request that you pursue alternative funding mechanisms like donations, fundraising, and resident grants. As you stated today, it would take years to put enough money into the coffers to start to actually purchase property. We seem to be at a crossroads where we decide for future generations what the character of Orangetown will be. Pressured by developers like Gatto Lane, HNA, and the upcoming Spark Hill project, our intent of cramming as many houses as they can with downzoning requests and plans that are simply astonishing in their audacity. We know that Suez water capacity is not unlimited, but there is little transparency from that utility. Similarly, when driving past the monstrous warehouse behind St. Cat's, I'm reminded that we have 2 more multi-million cubic foot mega warehouse projects lurking. Soon there will be no open space, and residents who prefer not to live in a 6th borough will be able to pass the sugar, or Grey Poupon, if you're the Toll Brothers, to their neighbor through the kitchen window. Wildlife is under unbelievable pressure. There is no place for them to go. I spend my spring rescuing animals who have had no choice but to have their families under our decks and in our siding. It goes on, and it is heartbreaking. Are we really going to build on every square inch? I hope not, for the sake of the birds, the animals, and our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Barbara Meyer.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barbara Meyer from Palisades, also a member of Coupon. When you're looking at the comprehensive plan that's going to be revisited, I hope as a resident here and somebody who really loves this area that you guys will be looking at the big picture and that you're going to pick people who are going to work on the comprehensive plan who can visualize the needs, be it for senior housing, affordable housing, PAC housing, wealthy housing, affordable housing, and green spaces. Because do we want 303 just to be warehouse after warehouse after warehouse? Do we want to be able to switch that around and maybe have some residences where people will shop in our town versus going to New Jersey? Again, to reiterate what they're talking about, everybody else is talking about, there's nothing wrong with having, development as long as it's conscientious. And we don't want our town to look like what's happening north of us. And what's really lovely about this town is that the residents have a great relationship with our planning board and zoning, and I think we can work in unison together. And I just hope when you're doing the new comprehensive plan, we keep in line with what our forefathers wanted and what our grandchildren will need and want. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Artini? Have I said that right?
Robert Artini. Please, Supervisor Kenny, rest of the board. I moved to Rockland County in 1963. There's nothing up here, okay? I'm a city kid. It was beautiful. I've been living on Gatto Lane for 37 years in that development. It's been beautiful. It's been great. I've been before this board a couple of times regarding this change of plan. Let's keep one thing in consideration here, thanks to the ladies from Coupon. Whether or not we agree with how Toll Brothers is going to build their development, and there are tons of questions that have to be answered before, I think, a credible decision can be made. Anybody here been to Gatto Lane? Raise your hands. What do you think is going to happen when 40 minimum, probably 60 or 80 cars start buzzing in and out of there one way? And according to what they showed tonight, they can't turn around unless they go all the way to the end and turn around to come back out. Every time I go down that street,
Number one, I look for deer. Number two, I look for headlights in the nighttime. In the daytime, I look for somebody coming up. It's incredibly narrow to even consider putting additional traffic in there, and they can't widen the road because it's private property in most cases. I beg the town to understand the dangers of overdevelopment. I'm not going to go into all the theories that are running rampant around this county, okay? This is not the time for that. I think we all should understand what the zoning was for houses, single-family homes on 1 acre. You want to build 10 homes on 10 acres? I don't really think I have a problem with that, okay? I'd love to keep the woods behind me. I certainly would love to keep the animals happy, okay? And just the darned aesthetics of it. My concern is you downzone that. What happens to the other side of Gatto Lane, where there are woods now? Sure, some private property, but there's a ton of private property, public lands there now that somebody's going to buy and want to change the zoning on, okay? Mr. Lane bought that property when he bought it, knowing damn well what it was zoned for. He tried some years ago to get it downzoned again so he could build 40 houses. Supervisor Kleiner came over, looked at the property, and initially he was for the change. He looked at the area, listened to us, and guess what? He changed his mind. Now, a lot of things have to go before the planning board, this and that, but the onus is on you folks to understand where we, the residents, are concerned. Overdevelopment. Stop it, please. Thank you.
Eileen Larkin.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm here to talk about a different subject. You know, I'm sure all of us have seen the term cancel culture in our coming forward by the nameless and nameless and without showing who their faces are. My concern is about the banning of books. And recently, we have seen certain books on the local paper that we get that they feel is either racist or doesn't comply with their way of thinking. As somebody who came from the sidewalks of New York, I dealt with everybody. I lived with every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the city, and we got on with each other. What I'm concerned about is our libraries. Our libraries technically cannot ban a book. If I requested a book, they would have to get it for me because that's their philosophy and mission. But on the other hand, I'm concerned that this cancel culture will have the right to pressure our library boards to remove certain books. And certain ones like Little House on the Prairie, some Dr. Seuss books, because these nameless, faceless people deem that we don't like it, let's get rid of it. Anyway, what I'm concerned about, and it's a legal question, is whether or not this pressure can be put on our library boards because the books that are in those libraries are paid by the taxpayers of Rockland County. I'm talking only about Rockland County. It's a legal question because I objected to a book that was at the library recently, and I was told in no uncertain terms that the library board has a mission statement and they do not believe in, I didn't want the book banned, I just didn't want it to be out there. So what I'm concerned about is that in this case, when you have these people that cancel culture, can go out there and say, we want this out of here, we want, these books are paid, I paid for these books, everybody in this room paid for these books. It's a legal question, and I certainly don't expect an answer tonight, but, and that's why I came before you tonight, to see you all again, because it's been a hell of a month for me.
But anyway,
thank you.
I will not let them ban Little House on the Prairie. You trust me on that one. Okay, so that's the last person who signed up, so come on up. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, so you just have to say your name when you get up to the microphone. To the register.
Hi, I'm Andy Davidson. Hello, Jerry. I reside on Bradle Lane on the north part of the development that's there. I know Toll Brothers is a reputable builder, and I recognize that the board was asking questions with regard to the buffer. And Orangetown is a very green town, and that parcel of land is filled with hundreds of trees that are 100 years old. When Tri-Town, which is Bradle Lane, was developed over 30 years ago, there were buffer zones, but the buffers were very restrictive. They were recorded on the deeds of the property. And basically what it entailed is that you couldn't remove any trees larger than a certain diameter. You couldn't have any equipment on the property, heavy equipment on the property, that it had to be left in its natural state, not to say it couldn't be maintained, but it would basically ensure that the 50 feet of trees surrounding that property had to be there, and that the town had a basis to enforce it. And so I would just ask, as you're referring this to the planning board for their consideration, that you guys give consideration to making sure that while Toll Brothers is a big company, nobody cares about the land as much as the people that live around it. So in looking at that, make sure that there's enough teeth in the restrictions related to the buffer that it would be protected. And I don't know. First of all, I wouldn't be for the downzoning, but if it happens, I want to make sure that land is protected around us, and that also as people drive in there, you're not having headlights facing all over the place. And the other comment is 40 houses on 10 acres is a lot. So whatever you can do in terms of consideration of reducing that size, that would be appreciated as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Gentleman right there.
Gentleman right there.
Hi, I'm Dan Meyer, and I live on Gatto Lane. And just to follow up on that other gentleman's point, it's my understanding that the proposed development is for age 55 and over, so that restriction could not be changed in the future. Maybe as if and when you do the downzoning in the deeds, you put that this is restricted to age 55 and over and cannot be changed in the future, so it doesn't end up as multifamily, high-density housing maybe 10 years down the road. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to point out, there hasn't been any decision made on this yet. It's not even a public hearing yet. This is a informal proposal. So we've had many proposals come into town at the Dinosaur property 2 or 3 times that I've been on the board. They still haven't gotten the zone changed. We get proposals every week where they want to do changes. We allow these companies to come in, and it's a good thing that you come out because we want to hear what everyone in town has to say, but no decision has been made, and we appreciate that you come out, and I don't think anyone on this board has made a decision on this proposal, or I wait until the actual hearing because we're supposed to hear what everyone has to say. And I just want everyone in this room to know that. Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak? Just raise your hand. Come on up.
Hello, my name is Marilyn Heitman. I live in Spark Hill on Union Street. And I just want to bring up the development that is going up at the old bank. I'm a new resident, so I don't know the names of everything there. I think it's too many, for sure. And also, the parking, I don't know how that's going to work because the restaurant there called Roost rents that space for parking now. And I'm on Union Street, and my daughter and I did a little test. We parked our cars on each side of the road, and there is no way any ambulance or vehicle of any sort could fit through. So I do think that you have to consider making that development smaller and putting up parking signs on Union Street. Because the other night, and also they're doing movies or TV shows down there constantly where the whole parking lot was taken up and closed off for everybody. Nobody could go there, and you're stopped when you want to go walking your dog or anything. And I'm an actress, so I'm sort of in between, like, oh, this is good, no, this is not good, you know. But anyway, I just definitely feel the development has to be made smaller and some kind of parking on Union Street, because there were restaurants parked there on my side of the street the other night, and because the movie was there, or I think it's a TV show, and Roos did not have a parking space then, and the man that owns that property, I think, is the one that rents the parking space to Roos, so everything could go wrong for a little while. Okay, thank you very much for listening. I'm sure you must get tired of listening to everybody.
No,
but anyway.
never.
Thank you.
I do just want to talk about that Spark Hill project, though, because they haven't even come forward. They had not even come forward, and I started getting emails complaining about it, and I had no idea what people were talking about. They have since come forward with a very conceptual, which means it's like a pretty drawing, and said, can we present it to the town board? So that's as far as this board probably knows. You know, again, I was getting emails that I didn't know what people were talking about. I reached out to the director of our building department. I said, is there an application pending in Spark Hill? And she said, no. So you guys are on your A game. You're ahead of it there. So
we haven't heard anything about 17 units, anything about.
Right. They did. Right. And he asked to come in now.
It is, I mean, Jim Castagna I talked to today, I said, you got more information than I have.
Yeah.
This is very new to us. And, I mean, if you're telling me it's 17 units on a half acre, that's something that I don't think any on this board would support. You know, it's just too many units and too small of a space. And, yeah, the issue of parking, which
now,
is...
that is to raise another issue. I guess we can have Jim come in. The thing that... Yeah,
no, I mean, the parking is something that the parking, if you have 17 units on a half acre,
but,
you're 2 cars, that's 34 cars, you're never going to be able to fit them down
but
there.
the thing Jim Castagna mentioned,
Oh, yeah, they're parking in the parking lot.
we're supposed to be doing a project.
Yeah,
Jim, you want to just give us an update on the Spark Hill? Remember just because it's about the Spark Hill. This wasn't right. Yeah.
Actually, the update is we're meeting with the county transportation tomorrow morning. I think I think you're included. Basically, to finalize the plan for the funding to build a commuter parking lot. The commuter parking lot will be built across from the American Legion on 340, and that will take the commuters that are parking in downtown Spark Hill away. I think we're close. It could happen this year.
Okay.
I say that because we've been doing this since 2007, but eventually we're going to get there. If that happens, then there are a couple of conceptual plans for redoing the park area down there, but nothing has been finalized.
Okay.
So the key is the American Legion offered the property to the town to build the parking lot, which would accommodate, I think we're looking at 47 cars. That would be for commuters, and then red and tan, the buses will pick up there. But they will still service the center of Spark Hill. And working through the county to get federal aid to pay for the construction of the parking lot, which right now I think is in the $900,000 range.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak? Just raise your hand.
Motion to close?
Oh, and a motion to close. Second? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to take...
a 2-minute break for anyone who doesn't want to stay for the rest of the meeting.
And so, it's hot as hell in here. Let's get through this because we have an executive session we gotta go to. Okay. Number 7, this is a proven amendment to Resolution 2025-21. This is Mike Zarin. We exceeded the cap again, so we have to increase the cap so we can pay him. Any questions? Motion? Tom Diviny move. Second. Jerry Batari, all in favor? Aye. Okay, memoriam resolution condemning the parole and release of Robert McCain, the murder of Paula Bohefsky, sending it to the New York Parole Board and all those parties listed down there. I know Dennis is sorry he's not here for this, but can I get a motion?
Moved.
Tom Diviny, second.
I'll second.
Paul Valentine, all in favor? Aye. Approval of the 2021 certificate of sewer registrations to the entities noted. Can I get a motion? Jerry Batari moved. Second.
I'll second it.
Paul Valentine, all in favor? Aye. Number 10, approve the compressed 10-hour work week for employees of the Orangetown Highway Department from April 12th to October 10th. Motion?
I'll make it.
Paul Valentine, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor? Aye. Parks and Rec, approve and lend aid to the 2021 Fashion Show and Relay for Life events scheduled for Thursday, April 29th and Friday, April 30th. Motion? Jerry Batari moved. Tom Diviny second. All in favor? Aye. Approve lend assistance to the Fall River Chamber of Commerce 5K run, Saturday, April 17th. Get a motion? I'll make a I'll make the, okay. I made it. Paul seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
I will be running it. Will I see anybody out there?
I'll be there.
Okay. Okay. Will you actually be able to give me water, or will you be inside Noonan's or something? So I'll have to come and get you.
I will give you a beer when
You'll give me a beer when I run by. Okay. Okay. Approve land assistance to the 2021 Pearl River Memorial Day Parade for May 31st. Can I get a motion? Paul Valentine. Second. Jerry Batari. All in favor? Aye. Award environmental design and research Tier 4 pumping station improvement design. This is the one, there was a series of emails on this, so. Get a motion?
Moved.
Tom Diviny, second. Jerry Batari, all in favor? Aye. Appoint Caitlin Bettman to senior clerk typist in the building department effective April 14, 2021. Motion?
Moved.
Tom Diviny, I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Am I ringing? Okay. Appoint Kenneth Sincerbox, hope I didn't mutilate that, to firefighter, did I say it right?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so firefighter in the Bluevet Fire Department. Motion? Jerry Paul Valentine, second. Tom Diviny, all in favor?
Aye.
Gotta be quicker, Jerry. Accept, receive, and file documents in the town clerk's office. Can I get a motion?
Yep.
Jerry Batari, second. Paul Valentine, all in favor? Aye. And on the audit.
Anything less than 30, I don't want to hear about.
I got Dennis's.
Okay. The audit for tonight consists of 3 warrants for $2.5 million. First warrant had 12 vouchers for $1.1 million. Items of interest, number 1 and 2, the applied golf contracts. Number 5, Department of Civil Service, $32,000 for health care benefits. Second warrant had 1 voucher for $2,400, was for equipment leasing. The third warrant had 198 vouchers for $1.4 million. Items of interest, number 2, Capasso, $68,000 for recycling. Number 3, the Rockland County Commissioner of Finance, $44,000 for police training assessment. Number 5, County of Rockland, $444,000 for the 2020 community college chargebacks. Number 6, Cummins, $82,000 for pump station replacement. That's bonded money. Number 8, Fleet Pump and Service Group, $35,000 for pump station control panel. Number 10, Global Metello, $19,000 for fuel. Number 14, O'Connor Davies, $74,000 for the audit. Number 17, Schultz Ford, $145,000 for 4 police vehicles. That's bonded money. Number 18, Seal Coat, $53,000 for road resurfacing. That's bonded highway money. Number 21, Sprague, $35,000 for fuel. And number 22, U.S. Pitch Care, $61,000 for the bunker project at Blue Hill, and that's also bonded money. Any question on the audit?
Nope. Motion on the audit?
I make a motion to accept the order.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so we do have to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation. We're not going to be voting on anything when we come back. We are going to be adjourning in memory of Jared Lloyd, the Spring Valley firefighter, 15-year veteran and hero, and Joseph Procida, father of Piermont resident William Procida. Okay. Moved.